I lived in the United States for 2.5 years, and I've traveled to over 75 countries. But when I moved back to Japan, something instantly felt different. I looked around and thought, wait, why are there so few overweight people here? Compared to the rest of the world, Japan feels like a completely different place. So what creates this huge gap? Is it genetics, food, lifestyle? In this video, we're going to break down why Japan makes you slim without even trying. Plus, I also offer guided tour in Japan, travel itineraries based on trip duration and area, and recommendations for unique cultural experiences.
You can find more information in the description below. So, let's get started.
Number 1 is obesity gap. Let's start with the numbers, because they're shocking. When I lived in the United States, I learned that the obesity rate is around 40%. It's something you can clearly see when walking down the street. And childhood obesity has become a major social issue. Now compare that to Japan, where the obesity rate is only about 4%. That's one of the lowest in the world, nearly a tenfold difference. But here's the key point. This gap can't be explained by genetics. Why? Because Japanese people who move to the US often gain weight, while many Americans who move to Japan say they naturally lose weight. So what does that tell us? Your body shape is shaped more by your environment than by your genes. Which raises the big question. What kind of environment makes you gain weight? And what kind keeps you slim? Is it the food culture, daily routines, or the way each country's systems influence everyday life? From my experience living in both countries, I'll break down the differences between an obesity-friendly environment and a slim-friendly one.
Of course, this is just personal perspective, but I hope it helps you see the contrast more clearly.
Number 2 is Japan's hidden food rules. Japan's food culture has a built-in design that naturally prevents overeating. Let me introduce 2 ideas that play a huge role. The first is Ichiju Sansai, often called the 1-3 rule. It's the traditional Japanese meal structure: 1 staple, 1 soup, and 3 small side dishes. This setup gently pushes you toward eating many varieties, in small portions, with lower calories. It's like an unconscious health rule that Japanese people have followed for generations, without even thinking about it. The second idea is eat until you're 80% full. Instead of chasing the feeling of being stuffed, you stop with a little room to spare. It's a mindset that naturally keeps your total intake in check. Now compare this with the United States. In America, fullness equals satisfaction. Meals are large, plates are packed, and both meat and carbs are served in generous portions. The underlying idea is that meals should deliver calories efficiently, quickly, and in large amounts. So in simple terms, in Japan meals are built around small portions, plenty of variety, and the idea of slowly savoring each dish. In the United States, meals tend to focus on large portions, high calories, and getting full as efficiently as possible.
This difference in food philosophy is a major reason for the obesity gap.
Number 3 is processed versus balanced. Let's talk about the quality of food in both countries, because this alone creates a massive difference. In the United States, you simply can't avoid ultra-processed foods. Cereals, frozen meals, snacks, sugary drinks. Many of them are engineered to be hyper-palatable, high in sugar and fat, and almost impossible to stop eating once you start. Japan has processed foods too, of course, but the flavors are milder and the portions are noticeably smaller. Even a simple hamburger has completely different nutrition depending on whether you get it in Japan or in the US. And then there's one more huge difference: school lunches. In Japan, school lunches are designed by licensed nutritionists. Every meal is controlled for calories, salt, and overall balance. Seasonal ingredients are used, and food education is built into the curriculum. In other words, kids grow up learning what a healthy meal actually looks like. The American system is almost the opposite. Pizza, fries, chicken nuggets, chocolate milk foods chosen more for their low cost and long shelf life than for nutrition. It's gotten so bad that parents across the country have organized protests and petitions, demanding that schools stop serving these meals to children. So the contrast is clear. In the United States, ultra-processed foods dominate everyday eating, and even school lunches are often high-calorie and low in nutrition. Meanwhile, in Japan, both at home and in school, meals are built on systems where health is the default.
And that structure shapes lifelong eating habits in completely different ways.
Number 4 is the portion gap. When I lived in the United States, one of the first things that shocked me was the portion size. Burgers were big, drinks came in huge cups, and soda refills seemed endless. What Japan calls a large often feels like a small in America. But when I returned to Japan, I realized something important. Restaurants here generally serve portions that one person can actually finish. This matches the Japanese idea of stopping before you feel completely full. The portions may seem smaller, but they are designed to satisfy you without pushing you to overeat. Japan also has a very limited takeout culture because of strict food safety rules. Since leftovers aren't expected, restaurants rarely offer oversized meals. Instead, they focus on serving the right amount to eat on the spot. Another big difference is the structure of the meals. Many Japanese chain restaurants offer balanced set menus that include rice, a main dish, miso soup, and sometimes a salad. This automatically creates a well-rounded meal, without needing to think about nutrition. In the United States, the goal is often to provide maximum fullness and value. Restaurants want you to feel like you're getting a lot for your money, which naturally leads to larger portions and more calories than you realize. These different approaches shape your habits. In Japan, the dining environment encourages you to be satisfied with an appropriate portion.
However, don't worry. Japan still has American chains like McDonald's and Burger King, so you can enjoy those flavors anytime.
Number 5 is the walking gap. When I moved back to Japan from the United States, one of the biggest shocks was how much more I suddenly started walking. During the 2.5 years I lived in America, my daily step count was usually around 2,000 to 3,000 steps. And the reason was simple: I had to drive everywhere. Walking was never really an option, so it completely disappeared from my daily routine. But when I returned to Japan, everything changed overnight. I walked to the station, transferred trains, walked again, stopped by a store, walked home, and without even noticing, my daily steps jumped to 15,000 or even 20,000. That is about 5 to 10 times more than in the US. And the crazy part is that I was not trying to exercise. I was just living a normal day, and the calories burned themselves. This difference comes from urban design. In Japan, convenience stores, supermarkets, restaurants, and train stations are all within walking distance. Public transportation is incredibly developed, so daily life naturally includes a lot of walking. In the United States, it is the opposite. Most cities are built around cars, so daily life gives you almost no chance to walk unless you specifically choose to exercise. So the contrast becomes very clear. Japan is a country where you walk without thinking about it. America is a country where you do not walk unless you make an effort.
And that difference in everyday movement adds up.
If you would like a personal guide in Japan or need recommendations for travel plans and cultural experiences,
Please contact me from the link in the description section.
Number 6 is social pressure. One more reason Japan naturally keeps people slim is something many visitors feel, even if they can't name it. It's the power of social pressure, what I'll simply call the eyes of others. In Japan, people grow up paying close attention to how they are seen. That awareness isn't only about behavior, it also extends to body shape. Many Japanese people quietly carry thoughts like, I don't want to look overweight, or I don't want to seem careless. In everyday life, body size is often treated as a sign of self-discipline. Being slimmer can affect how you're viewed in love, at work, and even in daily interactions. Because of this cultural atmosphere, people naturally avoid overeating. They try not to eat too much in public. They don't make high-calorie foods a daily habit. And they manage their weight without needing strong willpower. The society around them guides their choices. In contrast, the United States values personal freedom above all. Even if someone eats a lot or gains weight, the attitude is usually, it's your life, do what you want. People are not expected to monitor how others look or behave. So in Japan, body shape is influenced by how others might see you. In America, it's shaped by personal preference, not public judgment.
And this cultural difference quietly creates two very different environments.
Number 7 is the social system. Another reason Japan naturally keeps people slim is the power of its social systems. It's not just culture or daily habits. The structure of the country itself is built to keep people healthy. One of the biggest examples is Japan's mandatory annual health check. If you work for a company, you must take a full medical exam every year. Your weight, body fat, blood pressure, blood tests, even your visceral fat are all measured. The results are submitted to your company, and if something is off, you may receive official guidance to improve your health. In other words, gaining too much weight isn't just a personal issue. It becomes something the company and even society expect you to address. Because companies share part of the healthcare costs, they invest in keeping employees healthy. Many run walking challenges, provide health apps, offer smoking cessation programs, and even monitor working hours to reduce stress. This isn't just goodwill, it's part of a national system that encourages businesses to manage employee health. Schools follow the same pattern. Children are measured every year, and local governments use the data to create health strategies. In contrast, the United States treats health checks as optional. Companies are not required to monitor employee health, so it's easy for weight gain to continue without anyone pointing it out. Japan's insurance system also rewards staying healthy. The more lifestyle diseases you develop, the more you pay. Staying healthy saves money for both individuals and society. So from the national level to companies, schools, and finally individuals, every layer of Japanese society works in the same direction, supporting a lifestyle where staying slim is the natural outcome.
And that's a major difference from the United States.
Number 8 is conclusion. Why Japan keeps you slim. Now that we've gone through the differences between the US and Japan, we can see something clearly. Japan isn't a naturally slim country because of one single factor. It's the result of many small forces working together. First, there's the food culture. Traditional Japanese meals are light, balanced, and portioned around the idea of stopping before you feel full. With more vegetables, fermented foods, and milder flavors, the entire dining style makes overeating less likely. Second, Japan simply has fewer ultra-processed foods in daily life. In the US, high-calorie, sugar-heavy, and fat-heavy options are everywhere. Japan has them too, but the environment doesn't constantly push you to eat more. Third, there's the difference in daily movement. The US is built around cars. Japan is built around walking. When I lived in America, I walked about 2,000 to 3,000 steps a day. In Japan, I naturally walk 15,000 to 20,000. Just living your normal routine burns far more calories. Fourth, social pressure plays a big role. In Japan, people care deeply about how they are perceived. No one wants to look careless or unhealthy, so overeating becomes less common. Appearance affects dating, work, and first impressions, so body image becomes part of social behavior. Fifth, the country's systems encourage staying healthy. Annual health checks are mandatory. Companies monitor wellness. Schools track growth from childhood. The entire society nudges people toward maintaining a stable body weight. So Japan gently pushes you toward staying slim, even if you're not trying. The US, on the other hand, makes weight gain almost effortless unless you fight against your environment. If you've ever felt that you stay slimmer in Japan but gain weight back home, it's not your willpower, it's the structure around you.
How was today's video? Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like button. See you in my next video. Bye!